We're entering Lake Taupo. That's the blue you can see in the distance. That's Lake Taupo. I think it's our largest freshwater body of fresh water in New Zealand. It's a massive lake. A number of hydroelectric stations are powered from it. So we're just entering from Rotorua into Taupo. And we're just about to go over the outlet from the lake. Massive amount of water leaves here, and it's used to fill a number of dams on the way down to the sea that then drive some hydroelectric stations. Fantastic day here in the North Island. Temperature is 26 degrees C, very nice. So that was the little bridge which goes over the outlet from the lake, goes down to a falls called Hoka Falls, which is very impressive. Some of you may have seen that. So we'll go along the lake front. Fairly smallish city, not too sure how many thousand live here. Again, it's a tourist resort city. So Rotorua, Mount Maunganui, Taupo, these are places where people come down to for a weekend away from Auckland City. It's an easy day trip. We intended to stay here at Christmas time this year, that's just gone. Couldn't get a hotel. Shows how busy the place was. So we had to pass it up. But we might try it again in a few weeks or a month's time. See how we go again, because it is one of my favourite spots to spend time. Having a hotel on the lakefront down here is just absolutely perfect. There's a walkway here that you can just take all the way along the lake frontage. This road just follows the lake edge. And most of the accommodation out here looks nicely out towards the lake. So we're heading sort of southwest. If you've never been to this part of the world, when you're able to travel, I'm sure you'd find this a very nice destination. Lake Taupo. It's in the North Island, right in the centre of the North Island of New Zealand. And I believe the lake is filled from the mountains that surround on the western side of the lake. And I believe the lake was a massive volcano one stage. That's how it appeared. So it's a large crater, volcanic crater, I believe, which must have been an amazing eruption, because it's a heck of a large lake. Gas is getting up here to 286 a litre. This is our favourite hotel here that we like to stay at, coming up here on the right. A little further along. I think the Oasis is part of it, the Millennium. The Millennium is where we've stayed, right on the actual lake frontage. It's a very nice hotel, fairly reasonable. I think it was about $250 a night, which is not too bad. And there's the lake frontage there. It's going to pull around here, and then we'll just go back around here a little bit. So there's the lake. Absolutely magical place. And the walkway goes all the way along the lake frontage. You can go for a long way on a scooter or push bike or walk. So it's really, really nice. And of course you can swim in the lake. It's pretty cold. Fresh water. Yeah, so we've often had accommodation here in Lake Taupo, one of our favourite places for a weekend away. Just heading back towards the city centre of Taupo again now. You could probably say this is the main drag actually. Just drive backwards and forwards along the lake frontage here. That road there goes off to the city of Napier, which is quite a distance from here, over on the east coast. What's this guy doing here? And we've been there a number of times. It's a big drive. It's a nice area to get to. Back in 2018, I did a complete navigation of the North Island. I went from Auckland up to Kaitaia, right up to North Cape where the lighthouse is. Back down, that was on the west coast, and then on the way back down to Auckland I used the east coast. Then I went from Auckland over to the Coromandel, right up to the peninsula of Coromandel, and then all the way down the east coast, all the way down to Wellington. It's the bottom of the North Island, and from Wellington back up towards New Plymouth on the west coast, and all the way back up to Auckland. It was actually a 3,000 kilometre drive Only about just over 3,000 kilometers of driving, and I did that in my 2001 Nissan Maxima 3-litre. Very nice drive. That was about the last big road trip that I've had in the North Island. And I think the trip I had after that was the trip that I did to Route 66 in the States, where I flew to Hawaii, took in Pearl Harbor, etc. in my visit, then flew from Hawaii up to LA, picked up my car in LA and drove up to Chicago on the interstates, and then from Chicago I made my way back down to all the way back down to the Santa Monica Pier, where they pretty much say is the end of Route 66. I did most of the drive back down on as much of Route 66 as I could find. I've actually got quite a few videos of that on my channel if you were interested in looking at those. I had an absolutely fantastic time. You need at least 6 weeks for that trip, I feel, to do it justice. There's so much to see. And I did that in the month of July, I think it was. It was pretty decent weather, but man, when I got up to Chicago, it was about 30 degrees Fahrenheit up there. It was freezing. Too cold for me, that's for sure. But yeah, so I do like road trips, enjoy them a lot. Quite happy to do them on my own. The solitariness of being out on your own on the road and in your vehicle is quite nice. You don't have to worry about stopping where other people want to stop. You can just do exactly what you feel like doing. When you feel like stopping for something to eat or looking at something, you can just do it as you please. So I'm on my own today. So this is sort of the bottom end of Lake Taupo, where you can sit outside here. Lots of people are, and you can look at the lake while you're having your meal and your coffee or your beer. Plenty of bars along there. And it looks like in their infinite wisdom they're getting rid of the traffic lights and putting in more of these roundabouts. We seem to have a bit of a love affair for roundabouts at the moment. I do know a little bit about roundabouts. I was educated by a civil engineer of roundabouts. It wasn't really a voluntary education. I happened to be on a plane to, I think I was flying up to the UK, and I happened to be sitting by a guy that was a roundabout engineer, and he taught me everything that you need to know about roundabouts. And one of the things he taught me was that this roundabout just here is too small. You can't have too big a roundabout. The bigger they are, the better they work. The small ones, you tend to come across the other traffic too quickly, and it can very easily block up. So here we go, leaving Taupo, going back over the outlet. On roundabouts, our roundabouts are pretty basic. The ones I've driven on in the Middle East are quite often 3 lanes wide with traffic lights all the way around them, and people changing lanes on them as well. Absolutely crazy. So we're taking the road now from Taupo to the city of Hamilton, and from Hamilton we'll head back to Auckland. Should be back in Auckland in about 3 hours or so, I'd expect. I'll leave the camera going for a little while because we will probably see some action from the geothermal activity. There's a big station here, a big power station called Wairaki, and it's driven completely from the geothermal activity. Very unique. It produces steam for the steam turbines from heat exchangers from the thermal activity. Just coming up here in a little while. So this area here goes to a place called Hooker Falls, which is a very big tourist spot, and also there's a lot of whitewater rafting, and there's also jet boat rides and helicopter rides and all sorts of things to do here as you're leaving Taupo. Absolutely a magical place to visit, and the people that are lucky enough to live here, very nice lifestyle. Here is the Wairaki area. I've been to a couple of conferences here. They have a big conference centre. Oh, that's right, there's a big prawn factory here as well. They use the heat, I think, the leftover heat from the power station for prawns. Big prawn farm. Yeah, lots of stuff here really to look at. Plenty of rides for your push bike or your e-bike, and plenty of areas to go tramping and walking. Set up really nicely for the outdoors. Plenty of campsites. These people here on their push bikes riding around. You can actually ride from one length of New Zealand to the other, or from the very top of New Zealand to the bottom of New Zealand. There's a cycleway which has been constructed for that. I think it would probably take you about a month, I suppose, to do it. It's probably a couple of maybe 3,000 kilometre push bike ride. If anybody's looking for an adventure, I'd say that'd be a good one to do. I'd consider it on an e-bike, I suppose, but I don't think I'd be interested on just a straight out mountain bike. Traffic is fairly light around here, and the road is very, very good. It's a decent road to drive on, even though we share the, even though it's a dual carriageway in most parts of it, I feel fairly safe. The road is wide, good visibility, good road surface. So we're coming down now to the Wairaki Conference Centre on the right, just going past that. It's a resort, very nice place. And on the left hand side is a part, we'd see a bit of steam here possibly, some pipe work for the geothermal side of things. Maybe a bit off camera, unfortunately. It's off to my left. Just there on the right hand side of the camera is some of the pipe work for the power station. It is a massive one. I'm not too sure how many megawatts it pumps out, but it's the largest geothermal power station I would imagine in this part of the world, that's for sure. So climb a bit now to a place called Tokura, which will be quite a nice drive. I'll leave the camera running for a while. So that roundabout there is where we came into from Rotorua. We went straight ahead to go into Taupo. If I'd taken the left-hand exit, it would have taken me to Napier, and now I'm taking the what would we call it's the northwest exit, which is taking me back up to Auckland. We're going to go through Tokura and Hamilton. So I'd say we're probably about 200, what do we be, maybe 300 kilometres away from Auckland at the moment. Road trip. I think New Zealand is quite a good country for road trips. You can do some nice circles around the North and South Island, plus you could also do a complete trip for the length of the country. I know a number of people have done that from overseas on motorbikes. Probably do a road trip from the end of the north, from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island. You could probably do a reasonable road trip in about 3 weeks. That gives yourself a bit of time to look at things along the way. Just sitting on 100 k's an hour. It's about the right speed for this road as well, and it is actually the speed limit that we're permitted to go to. this is the road which goes to Tokura and Hamilton. We're making fairly good time, and I'll come back a little bit later on with another one. Catch you later. Thank you for viewing.